The year is 1953, the Soviet Union deep in the grip of Cold War paranoia. Somewhere far north, in a land of endless forests and snow, stands an isolated gulag. Officially, it's marked as abandoned due to environmental hazards, but rumors flourish. Not only does the camp still hold prisoners, but among them are alleged Americans, stranded and erased from global memory. The Americans, former pilots, diplomats, civilians lost during border skirmishes or secret missions, are kept for years, their names deleted from government lists. Many have forgotten their own language, surviving alongside Soviet inmates who are equally lost to history. Letters home are intercepted. Escape is impossible. But one night, a coded plea crosses the border, a single, shortwave transmission picked up in Alaska, too faint to be anything but desperation. We are alive. America help us. For the CIA, this is a dilemma and an opportunity. Secret operations are planned, deep infiltration, plausible deniability, forged Soviet documents, partnerships with Finland, Norway, even double agents inside the KGB. A young agent, Jacob Carter, fluent in Russian, is chosen to penetrate the frozen hell and bring the American prisoners home. Jacob's journey begins with tension and promise, crossing borders by night, exchanging signals with Soviet dissidents, listening to folk tales about camps where the dead walk. He bribes his way through checkpoints, witnesses the daily cruelty, men working through -40 degrees, guards firing warning shots at anything that moves. In the Gulag, Jacob finds not just Americans, but a hidden world of trauma. He speaks with Ivan, a Russian engineer who remembers the day new inmates arrived, silent, dressed in ragged foreign uniforms, carrying battered photographs of American families. They share horror stories, a barack where prisoners vanish overnight, a mine entrance blocked for decades after something was found inside, a cavern lined with child-sized bones and crude written warnings, do not wake them. Jacob discovers Dr. Volkov, a Soviet scientist obsessed with radio waves, who describes experiments on prisoners involving sleep deprivation, hypnosis, mind-altering drugs. Dissidents whisper about a KGB project, using Gulag inmates as ghost transmitters to pick up signals from the West, or from lost realms beneath Siberia. Jacob's plan for escape grows desperate as night closes in. Fires rage. Guards chase and shoot. Prisoners riot, some convinced the camp itself is alive, haunted by the angry souls of those who were starved, frozen, buried without names. As Jacob leads his group through blizzards, pursued by dogs and searchlights, they see things that defy explanation, shadow figures walking on snow without leaving a trace. Voices chanting in English and Russian from unseen places. Ruined statues and relics from World War II. American helmets half fused into Soviet tanks, mechanical parts stamped made in USA. In hidden crypts, clues that suggest more American involvement than anyone admits. Crossing the last river before the Finnish border, Jacob and survivors confront the final terror, the Watchers, black-clad men with glowing eyes, who speak neither Russian nor English. Escape is not just physical but existential. Some prisoners look normal, others are changed forever, haunted, fearful, with memories of visions and entities that follow them into Western life for decades. When the survivors reach American hands, they face endless debriefings, isolation, attempts to repair minds broken by both Soviet cruelty and horrors unknown in the outside world. Jacob writes his last report, "America must remember these souls. Their stories are warnings. Darkness exists everywhere, even in those we call allies." Years later, declassified files suggest Operation Morningstar was real. Survivors tell inconsistent tales, some straightforward, others full of spectral warnings and haunted artifacts. The Soviet archives remain closed. Legend says some stories are still erased, some ghosts still lost to tundra. Why did America intervene? Was it hope, guilt, or fear of secrets too terrible to leave in enemy hands? The legend of the rescue, and everything found in those icy shadows, lives on whenever East meets West, and whenever the darkness of history is uncovered, one secret at a time. But even as Jacob Carter and the survivors reached the Finnish border, the story was far from over. In Helsinki, the rescued Americans and their allies were kept under constant watch, their health and minds fragile. Doctors and diplomats scrambled to make sense of their fragmented memories. Some survivors whispered about the Black Room, a secret cell beneath the camp where Soviet doctors conducted hypnosis sessions and forced the prisoners to listen to bizarre coded radio broadcasts, hoping to erase their pasts and implant new orders. Investigation teams returned to the Gulag ruins in the spring, only to find the site mostly bulldozed, evidence removed. Finnish journalists uncovered mysterious Soviet crates left behind, marked only by serial numbers and American company stamps from decades earlier. Artifacts included broken cameras, reels of unknown film, and a notebook full of encrypted English texts. One page simply read, "They watch us from below." Rumors spread among locals about strange auroras above the ruined camp, green and red lights swirling for hours some nights, far brighter than usual. Finnish border guards occasionally reported seeing human silhouettes moving quickly through the snow, disappearing without a trace. Psychologists recorded interviews with survivors who claimed to dream nightly of walking endlessly through icy corridors lined with hundreds of locked doors. Meanwhile, in Washington, the arrival of Jacob and the rescued men triggered intense debate. Some senior officials wanted to publicize the operation, claiming victory over Soviet brutality. Others believed too many details threatened national security and would expose secret American flights, shadow diplomacy, and the ambiguity of Cold War ethics. A secret hearing convened, and deep in the archives, files on Project Morningstar were locked away once more. But the legend grew. News of the American rescue reached underground Soviet circles. Dissidents in Leningrad and Moscow began passing cryptic messages, "We are not alone in the camps. Listen for the Western voices." Espionage dramas and books appeared, blurring the line between fact and fiction, suggesting that Americans, Russians, Finns, and even Chinese prisoners had all become part of one vast, haunted experiment, the search for human willpower in the ruins of ideology. Years later, Jacob Carter, aged, haunted, and reclusive, was interviewed by a television crew. He spoke of the rescue and its horrors, but also of hope. Even in darkness, alliances formed. Ordinary Russians, guards, cooks, even some soldiers, risked everything to help us. The Gulag wasn't just a place of suffering. It was a place where, for a brief moment, two enemies shared humanity. Paranormal researchers still visit the northern woods, recording whispers in the wind and electromagnetic readings near old railroad tracks. Some claim the site is cursed, destined to repeat its cycle whenever new secrets fester between East and West. The story of Operation Morningstar is now legend, a warning to future generations. Behind every political border are people, each with dreams, fears, and a longing to simply survive. And beneath every ghost story, there is always a grain of truth.